I'm Ashalia from Lockdown Studios. Today's video is going to be a basic intro to iClone 8. This is only going to be a basic intro, so this would be for first-time users. We'll look at importing a character directly from Character Creator to iClone 8. We'll then look at the camera and character navigation around the scene. We'll look at the different workspaces, how to navigate between them. Then we'll look at the basics of modifying your character in iClone. Then we'll do some animations, and then lastly we'll go on to rendering. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so firstly we're going to want to export our character. I'm in Character Creator 4 right now, so to export a character, select your character, come up to this little icon here. You'll see Send to iClone. You can just tap that. Give it a moment. Alright, so once it's exported, you can just go down to your iClone, open that up, you'll see it will load in. Just give it a moment. Alright, so as you can see, the character is imported with just one click to iClone 8. So we can select our character. Firstly, we're going to look at the camera navigation. So up here we've got these little three icons here. First one is zoom. So left mouse button and zoom in and out just by dragging your mouse up and down. You can also use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. You can also alternatively use Alt with left and right mouse button. I'm not sure where you're going to be using that and why you would be using that if you can just use the mouse button to scroll in and out. This is on Windows, so maybe you're using a different device that it's not possible. Alright, then secondly we've got our pan. That's the second button there, left mouse button, and you can pan your character around. Alternatively, you can use your Alt and left mouse button to pan. Just show you there. If I'm on select, I can use Alt, left mouse button click to pan around while holding Alt. Alright, and then the same for orbiting around the character. You can also use the Alt and then right mouse button to orbit around the character. Alternatively, you can come up here and then just orbit the character around. However, you can't use any selections while you're in this mode, so you're going to have to go back to your selection and say you want to select the shirt or the pants or something. So for me it's easier to just use Alt, right mouse button, orbit, left mouse button to pan, and scroll wheel to zoom in and out. Alright. Next, we're going to be using alternative shortcuts. So we've got the A, gives you a side view. We've got the S to give you the other side view. And then we've got the D for the back view, F for front, G for the top. H will not do anything. Then you've got your J to focus on the face. And you've got your K to focus on the entire scene. And then you can just bring it back in with J to focus on the character again. The same applies for if you've got something selected, it will only show you those parts. So as you can see, if you go to J again, it will always take you to the face, and K will always take you to an entire scene. That will apply to the shirt as well, if you want to see the side view, front view, back view, and top view of that. And you'll also find that here in the drop down, you'll see there. And the fun part is all these keys are right next to each other on the keyboard, so it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, then we'll look at the workspaces. So firstly, you've got your first shelf here. Some of the tools we already looked at. You've got your movement tools, camera movement tools, importing, all those you'll find on the first shelf there. You've got your motion director if you've got it installed. If not, it's a free add-on that you can find on the Revolution site. And you've got your content browser. Underneath your content browser, you'll find all the assets that you got installed on iClone. So you'll find your hair, actors, cloth, animation, stages, props, everything you'll find underneath here. And then you've got your templates, your custom. If you've got custom folders installed, you can find it under the custom. And then most of it that you installed will be under template. Under the template, you can look at the item specific, or you can look at the specific packs that you install. If you have problems looking for anything you need, you can always search for it underneath here. Just be mindful of where you are on the categories, because it will search specifically for what you are hovered over. So you can go to all projects and search under there, and you'll find everything. Alright, then we move on to the modify panel. So underneath the modify panel, you've got your attributes, your animation, your material, and your physics. We'll use some of these shortly. And then we've got our timeline. This is one that you're going to be using quite a lot, especially when you're doing animations for a character. So yes, that's just the basics of the workspaces. You can always modify your workspaces as well. If I don't want that there, I want it rather there, you can just move it around, have it where you want. If you just move it over there, you'll see it turns blue. You can drop it in and it will make a copy of that. If the workspace is getting too full, you can just always close one. Or you can move it over to a different one. And if you need that back, you can just go to your window. And underneath your window, you'll find that panels there again. So again, if you want to move it somewhere else, you can just move it there and then you can shuffle it around. So I want to save this layout. I can just come to Window, Workspace, and Save Layout. So this will save this layout. And just move Add Layout has been saved. Perfect. Alright, so let's move on. So let's look at modifying the character a bit. Alright, so you've got all your modification here that you can do. It's cloth hair. Unfortunately, you won't be able to do any morphs here. You'll do that in Character Creator, so that's the only thing that basically falls away when you come over to iClone. However, you can still do most of the modifications. So say you need have a shirt, or let's just delete a shirt, and you want to find that shirt again, you can come over to the pack. As you can see there's the pack that this guy is from, and this is the shirt that's made for him. And just remember to select your character, 2 clicks and it's done. If you need something else, say you want to dress him in something else, you can just find it there. If you don't want it under that specific pack, you can just go and browse for anything else that you would like to use. Alright, so that's the basics of the cloth. If I want to change the hair, the same applies. You can just come over, search for the hair, apply the hair to the character. For now it's already done, so we'll just leave him as is, but just to keep in mind, you can come over here and you can do some minor adjustments to the character. Okay, so let's look at animations. We're just going to do some basic animations. I'll show you how to change some of the animations, but firstly let's get the animation. So you can come to your animation panel here, and you'll find again your motion director, some subcategories here that you can use. For now, I'm just going to look underneath these packs, find something worth using. Let's say spunky moves. Why not? Alright, this one. We'll keep that in mind. Let's use that one. This has got a lot of movement, so we'll need a lot of movement for what we're going to do next. Okay, so when we add the animation to the character, you can come over here to your timeline, underneath your motion, and there you'll find this is stand greeting. This is not the one that I wanted. This is the one that I wanted, so you can just replace that. Of course it will not replace, so delete the previous one and use the next one, stand battle. So if you want to see the animation, you can just press play by using spacebar. You can also come here to play button here on the timeline. This will take you back, this little button here will take you back to the first frame. This one will take you to the last frame. This will only be the last frame of the selected, or what you have selected. So right now it's on 385. However, as you can see, the animation is still going on. So to do that, I can select the animation and you can press this one, the little before and after. Just click that and that will take the animation right back to the end. There you see, he's jiving, he's doing his thing. Alright, so if you want to take it back, you can just set that end frame again there. However, if you come to render, you can select your specific frames that you want to render. So it's not always necessary. Just to have more space than needed is usually a bit better. You don't want it here and you press play and it only stops there. So you'd like to see the rest of it at least. Alright, so let's just set that back to the beginning and start. Okay, so let's say we want to change, say, some of the movements that a character is currently in. So you just pan around, get a character into position. So you don't, let's just firstly go to our modify panel. You can come over to the animation and edit motion layer. Alright, this is on the other screen, but you'll see there's a pop-up that comes up, and there you can change all the different bones. When you want to open a hand, you can just press and drag on that. As you can see, so I want the hand a bit more open. Maybe I want the elbow a bit more rotated. This is in the move selection. That would be W. If you press W again, it will change between the world space and object space. Just keep that in mind, depending on what you want to do. And then if you press E, that will obviously be rotation. So you can make these minor adjustments to this character. As you can see, we're in frame 500 and something. You can open this motion layer. As you can see, the movement that I did there, key the frame. So now, as you can see, that's keyed in. So say I want to change again by around here and take this, just do something weird with that, and so I want to close that hand again. You see it will key in that frame of the specific bone that you can just open a motion layer on the specific layer that is actually changing. So you can see hand was open, now it closes. Alright, so that is one way to do some minor adjustments to this. And then let's look at some facial animations. As you can see, there's no facial animations on this character now. It's just having like a smile. So again, you can come over to face key. Just think it popped up, yeah. Open the face key, there we go. There it is. Alright, so on the face key, we can change specific muscles. Let's just move in a bit closer. Alright, so say we need this to be dropped down. You can just press when it turns green. It means it's active. So you can just, with your mouse, up and down to change that. Up and down to change, left and right to change that movement as well. So you can play around with that quite a lot. You can change the expressiveness. This will just be how hard is that changes that you're actually making. You see there's no expression. This is extreme expression. At around 100, 110, 120, that should be fine. You can also then change the expression. So let's go back to the first frame. Oh, now you see, as you can see, this hand is a bit wonky, so let's change that. There we go. Perfect. As you can see, that's changed now, and that should be good for the rest of the animation. Okay, so let's look at the expressions now. Open up the face key. Alright, yeah, we've got, of course, this guy is happy, but you can change it to sad. I've got a few presets here. That's quite nice, and you can see more or less what they're going for. You can change the expressiveness of that as well. Yeah, let's do 115. But in this case, we might do, not surprised now. Hey, let's keep this guy happy. He's a happy chap, as I. So we've got that. It will automatically key in from the frame that you're on. So let's move to, say, frame 130, there is doing now like a different move. So we want to change that again. They want that one with a little bit less expression maybe. So as you can see, if you scroll through now, it will change from that first one that we selected. It will change through to the different one that we selected. It just gives a bit more realism. I mean, nobody just dances with one expression. Some people actually do. Let's go to frame 250. So over here, we want to change it again. Let's say to the smirky look. And we can change this up. Okay, so as you can see, the expression is changing quite nicely as we're moving around. You see it's got an auto blink is activated on it. Let's see, over here there's a little bit less expression again, so let's give him expression, of course. So we've got that expression and we want it to change around here. And we want it to change right at the end. It's quite a long animation. We'll put it on happy again. And then maybe this one. Maybe let's just do on the last one. Change it up a bit to surprise. Alright. So if you scroll through, you can see, let's just change that surprise look to something a little bit less surprised. You'll see it will change back to the surprise one right at the end. And so that's just a basic way of changing these facial keys. Of course, we've got a lot of tools left that can be needed. Some of them are a bit more advanced, but we'll get to them. We've got the face puppet, create script, motion puppet, the direct puppet. You've got your motion director that you can still use. So this is just a basic. If you're going to do a beginner's thing, you've got some stuff that you downloaded, some movements, some animations, and so you want to put something quick together. That will be the best way to do it, fastest way to do it. It's not always the best way to do it. Okay, so if we bring it back to the beginning and see how the entire animation looks, just zoom out a bit, get him into position. As you can see, there's some expression going on. Now, of course, you can tweak this quite a lot, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on tweaking that now, just to show you the basics. In future videos, there's going to be a extreme course on how to do animations, how to do your own animations, how to change the animations completely from scratch till end. So stay tuned for that as well. Alright, so once we have our animation done, we can move back to the render. What's the last frame? We can see it's frame 1799. So now say we want to render this. Of course, it's just a blank background, so we're going to want to bring in something a bit more usable. So you can come over to your stage. I'm just going to use some basic layouts of lighting that's in this pack, scenes and effects. Let's see. That's just the light room. We've got a nice clean look. And you just stage your character. You can see it's a nice bright white light that we have here. And now to render, we just go to, of course you can still change a lot of lights and everything, but for now let's just stick to the basics. We've got this background in, we can see the character, it's looking quite decent. But to render, you can come up to the render tab. Of course, we're gonna want to render the video, and you'll find this pop up. Actually, don't want that there. Sometimes it will just dock. I usually have this on a different screen. It just makes the workspace a bit cleaner. Alright, so yeah, you've got your different ways that you can render this. Just gonna keep it on MP4 video. There's no audio. Frame rate, I try to use the 24 frames. Movie standard. And then you can, of course, change your resolution. For now, I'm just gonna keep it on a lower resolution. It's not gonna look that great, but it will look better. So this is again some of the stereo, panorama. We're not going to use that. Let's just do some render quality and analyzing there. And export range, we've got the range selected. Let's just do 1000 on this one, just to keep it a bit quicker. And export. Then you're going to have to select the file where you want it exported to. I'm just going to keep it on this. Change the name, of course. And there it goes. As you can see, it will render. I must say it renders quite quick, but it depends on the hardware that you have. Let's just keep this going for a moment. I'm just going to pause for a moment, and then once it's complete, we will carry on. Okay, so once it's complete, as you can see here, it shows complete, and I can open that. It will open the animation up. It's on a different tab now. There you can see this guy is moving. Alright. So that's the basics of iClone 8, basics of render, animation. Like I say, in further videos, we're going to look at more advanced techniques, more advanced learnings of what you can do with iClone 8. There is a lot of features that we did not go over. But like I said, that's more advanced. This is a beginner course. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. And then we'll see you on the next one.